Indiana Jones with a twinkle and a smile, crafting dreams together in a homemade style. Tinsel on the table and the lights aglow. Let's make magic happen in the fall and snow. Deck the halls with glitter and blue. Make enjoy.
Welcome to my channel, Crafting with me, Indiana Jones, and welcome to the Santa's Coming to Town collaboration. I am so excited to be working along together with my sweet friends, Monica of Up All Night DIY, Melissa of I'm Merely Melissa, and Dawn of Shabby Meets Bling. Let's celebrate Santa's arrival that's coming around just the bend. But what if Santa didn't have a sled? How else would he come to town? And let's take a look. What if Santa had a hot air balloon? That's what I'm creating today, and we're going to get started with a little bit of mop and glow in this very large plastic ornament that I have from my stash last year. This year at the Deering Estate, we are celebrating the golden age of travel, and nothing is better than a hot air balloon to be added to my ornaments on the tree at the Deering Estate. I am focused on the color green for my decor. It's almost a little bit steampunk, so I'm going to be using browns and bronzes and golds and this deep forest green. Now I should be explaining what I'm doing, and what I am doing is glittering the inside of this plastic ornament. You can use Mod Podge. Yes, that's right. Mod Podge is your best glue, I guess, for the inside of any ornament, and it could be glass or plastic, and it works so well, and it leaves it clear, glossy, and sparkly. Look at that. No milky material or anything on the inside. It just looks fantastic. So I've glittered a bunch of Christmas ornaments, and they are going to become my my hot air balloons around my Christmas tree at the Deering Estate. For now, let's focus on this beautiful green one. Now, green is my favorite color. I have to admit, I really love green. There's not a color, honestly, there isn't a color I don't like. Like there's some weird colors, like, sickly colors, but I like all colors, but I really like green. Anyway, so now I'm going to start putting on embellishments, and I have these beautiful metal embellishments that I had gotten from Amazon years ago, and I'm talking about like 3 years ago. I think I got these, and I have so many left over, and I don't think I spent more than $10 for a set of 80 pieces or something. It's fantastic. I should make more barrettes and jewelry and stuff, but for now I'm just making ornaments, and these are great. Now I'm just spacing them out using some tape, and then I'm going to use some hot glue. In retrospect, I should have used E6000 and hot glue, because I do realize that they might pop off afterwards, like in storage. While they're on the tree, I don't have a worry about these ornaments coming apart. But maybe after I store them in my very hot shed, I think the glue will melt. So I might have to redo them afterwards. And this I'm thinking about now, not while I was making them. But you can see how pretty that's going to look around the hot air balloon. Next, we have to make a gondola or a basket at the bottom of the hot air balloon for our little voyagers to join on their trip. The same thing I did with the Mod Podge and the glitter I did here for this little plastic shot glass that I got from the Dollar Tree. Now I'm adding the strings, and these are just gold strings, again, that I had in my, gold string. Or I guess that's what it's called. Yeah. I had that in my stash, and I thought this was perfect. So I'm going to add these to my little hot air balloon. I think they were like, when you have gifts that have those little ties around it? Anyway, that's what those were. Now, here is another hot air balloon that I made, a gold one. And I added some embellishments, including this beautiful trim with these pearls. And I thought that these pearls would be perfect on my next gondola. And what I'm using here, this little basket, are actually Nespresso cups that happen to be gold. So I'm adding the trim to that. And now I'm adding my beautiful spangly, sparkly green glittered Santa. to the basket. I got those at Temu again a couple of years ago. I might use one here or there, and I save things from one year to the next. And here I'm just adding a little wooden block just to elevate our Santa so he can look over the basket and say hello to everyone as he floats around the Christmas tree. And I do mean floats around the Christmas tree because the Christmas tree at the Deering estate actually revolves. It has a revolving base. So it's really cute that people can come in and look at all the different ornaments as they go around the Christmas tree. Now I'm just adding the gondola to the hot air balloon, and there you go. Look how cute that is. I love it. I think it came out so cute. So imagine a bunch of these little hot air balloons going around the Christmas tree. I absolutely love it. I'm adding some more embellishments there. I have these little tassels that I had in my stash as well. And it just adds to the whimsy of this adorable hot air balloon. Now, how about I start decorating the outside of my house with this wonderful, adorable Christmas inflatable? I received this and I was so happy to be able to review it for you. And I thought it was appropriate as we're celebrating the golden age of travel. And this is going to be Santa in another traveling opportunity, I guess, or a vehicle, I should say. So here is all the information for this Chapel Plus. The link is in my description below, and you get 20% off with the code Annie Jones. So here are the anchors, and here are my little kitty cats who escaped and were playing around. It was late at night, so there wasn't a lot of traffic in my neighborhood, so they're safe. But I thought it was fun to have them outside with me as I put together this new inflatable. I absolutely love it. I think it's wonderful because it's easy to put up. It's fun, it's fabulous, and I just love the fact that it is Santa Claus. And I don't have a lot of inflatables, believe it or not, because the kids have grown and I've given most of them away, but I am so thrilled to have this inflatable in front of my house, or actually I can say on the side. I'm on a corner house, so I thought this was perfect. So after I unfolded the inflatable itself, all I have to do is plug it in. That is the best thing about these inflatables. They're so easy to put together, so easy to put out onto your lawn, and again, so easy to put away as well. It's well lit, and I just think it's fantastic. Here comes Santa Claus. And I think it's just so much fun because it actually moves. I did not realize that the propellers would be moving. And I love that it has such a wonderful message. I was just so thrilled. I was like, oh my gosh, how cute, the propellers are moving. And it's just that old-fashioned type of airplane, which is part of the golden age of travel. So I just love it. I even love the little ear flaps on his hat. So I really enjoyed this, and I'm so happy to have it. And I think it'll be a great addition to my holiday decoration from year to year because it does last very long from what I understand. And that's just so good to know. So remember, more information about this wonderful inflatable in the description below and my discount code. Now, if you're changing some old light bulbs and you have some just sitting around, before you throw them away, let's make some hot air balloons out of these light bulbs. Here's one of those globe light bulbs that you usually use in your bathroom. At least these are from my bathroom. And it doesn't matter if they're clear or if they're white like this one. If they're opaque, you can use them either way. And I'm actually using these marker pens. They're acrylic marker pens from my Grabby Advent calendar, and they work fabulous on the glass. Now, this is something really fun to do if you start changing your light bulbs during the holiday season. Again, save those light bulbs and make something useful out of them, make something pretty out of them. Again, I'm using these acrylic markers that I got from Grabby. I think you can use any kind of markers. You can also paint them. There's also like gel paints. Ooh, I made a boo-boo. I made a boo-boo and I didn't take it out of the video because this is reality, people. And you just fix it up. There's no big deal. No biggie. And then what I'm going to do once I have them all colored, I am going to add what, people? Yes, glitter. Glitter. So obviously, I mean, I have to admit, I didn't think of it at first. I was making these for the Deering estate, and then I thought, oh, I put glitter on them. I can't take them in. I'm not kidding you. It's regimented over there. You cannot bring a piece of glitter into that place. Oh my goodness. Because again, it is a museum. It's also like a wildlife kind of sanctuary. There's some trails and stuff. They don't want any glitter going into the water, which I completely agree and respect them for that. So keep my glitter to a minimum, and this will be on my Christmas tree. Why not? I think they're adorable, and I think they'll go anywhere. Now, I did forget to show how I added the gondola as I did in the previous example, but I didn't think I'd had to show you twice, so that's all I'm going to do to this is I do cover the bottom where I'm screwing the where you would actually screw the light bulb into your light socket. And I just cover that with a few embellishments, some trim, some ribbon, and then I added a little gondola, as you saw that I did before with the bigger ornaments, and voila, you have a beautiful glittery hot air balloon ornament to add to your holiday collection, to your Christmas collection. If you've been to the dollar store, especially during fall, you will see these football wire wreaths, and you're wondering like, okay, what if I don't like football? What am I going to do with them? I'll tell you, you're going to make a blimp, like an actual blimp, not just a hot air balloon, but let's make a blimp. You can see that green is the green that I used on that ribbon, which I love this color, is the color that I used on the Deering Estate Christmas tree. I was trying to figure out how to use the ribbon on this wreath form, and afterwards I changed my mind. I wanted it to stand out because this was going to be the topper for my Christmas tree. So we're going to give Santa Claus a glammed out gold lame, I guess, Zeppelin, dirigible, blimp, whatever you want to call it. I love the word dirigible. How often do I get to use the word dirigible? It's not enough for how adorable I think that word is. Anyway, my golden dirigible, which again, could be a Zeppelin, could be a blimp. What has happened to the blimps? Are there still blimps out there? We live by an airport that used to have a Goodyear blimp. I don't see any Goodyear blimps anymore. I don't know. I kind of like them. Anyway, on that side tangent, please let me know if you see blimps in your neck of the woods. Are they still in football games and stuff? Regardless, this football is now going to be a blimp. Don't bother to check your phones. That was my phone that was ringing in the background. But back to my little blimp. So all I'm doing here is, first of all, I cut off the fabric that would just meet the amount that I needed for that blimp to cover the wire form of that football, of that half football. Again, these I got at the Dollar Tree. They're usually $1.25. The fabric I used was stretchy material. So if you're going to make a blimp, make sure that it's some kind of stretchy material and not a very hard or very strong material like a burlap or something, unless it's like a canvas. Yeah, canvas would work because you can stretch the canvas and stuff. But anyway, just putting it together and trying to figure out how am I going to hang this on the tree and how am I going to put the two pieces together, because as you can see, I've covered up all the wires and I will go through that right now. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm using wire to go through the fabric, which is pretty easy to go through. I did use a little screwdriver just to poke holes in the fabric so it'd be easier for my wire to go through. And just going back and forth as though you were sewing, but you're sewing with this gold, I'm using a gold wire. It was very easy to do, just took a little bit of time and lining up the two sides. Now, I hate to say it, but the two sides don't always line up exactly because they're not perfect I guess they're not perfect duplicates of each other, but it's okay. You won't even notice it at the end, with the end result. But as long as you can attach the two sides, it works out just fine. Now, we're having a little bit of a cat reconnaissance here. I didn't know that Kudu also worked for Santa Claus and is checking out to see the safety regulations of this little blimp for Santa. Now that she's made her, she's checked everything out. Now I'm going to work on the gondola. And you did notice that I did add a few embellishments on the blimp itself. You'll see it in a little moment. But here I just took this oval shaped box that you can get, a paper mache box anywhere, and these little party hats that ended up in my stash. You have no idea the weird stuff that ends up in my stash, because when people say, hey, you want this bag of random stuff for free, I'm like, yeah, sure, give it to me. So that's where it came from. Anyway, I think these were from New Year's Eve, and they were in one of the Michael's after Christmas boxes. I'm almost certain that's what it was. So here I thought it would be cute to have like this little gondola mimic kind of the blimp. I just wanted to, look like something vintage or antique. And of course, because, I'm doing steampunk, I did want to make sure that it looked a little bit Victorian. Check out I was just showing you my new little gun. They had this Surebonder gun on clearance, believe it or not, at Hobby Lobby. And I love it because it's just like the large cordless one, but it's smaller with a smaller nozzle. So it's a little more precise, and I absolutely love it. And I love the fact that it also uses the smaller glue sticks, because those are very handy to find and easy to find, especially like at Dollar Tree and what have you. So here I'm just gluing that little hat to this little box, this little paper mache box, and I'm going to do it on both sides. So it looks a little wacky, but I like it. I think it turns out really nice in the end. Now, as you can see here, I have the gondola completed. Both sides have been added. I love the fact that there's two little holes on either side, and I will have some cute little guests that will be in those two little areas. They'll be helping Santa on his way. Now I'm going to use some foam clay and some of my, I think this is an IOD mold that I had in my stash to create some embellishments for the gondola to make it look a little more Victorian. The reason I'm using foam clay and not the air dry clay that we're all used to is that dries very tough and very heavy, and I don't want to add too much weight to the topper of, again, this is going to be a tree topper. So I thought this was the best way to do that. And again, I'm just using a little bit of cornstarch and using the foam clay in my mold here. Now, once the clay has hardened enough, I just remove them from the molds, and I am just going to glue them with some E6000. I had a little more trust with the E6000 here, and if I'm not mistaken, I thought I also used a little bit of hot glue. There it is, a little bit of hot glue just to affix it to the blimp or to the gondola quickly. And I think it really makes a nice design. And I know it looks weird right now because you have half paper mache, half gold, half white. We're going to paint all of this and it'll turn out just fine in the end. And I really like the way this design turned out. I really do feel it has a very steampunk kind of look, a very Victorian type of look, because they loved embellishments. So now let's continue with the painting of this gondola. As I mentioned before, I'm really focusing on a forest green color for my Christmas tree at the Deering Estate. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm using some cream coat paint in this very dark forest green, I think was the color. And I really like this color. It kind of reminds me of the 90s. You remember the 90s? This green color was so popular. It had a little tinge of blue to it. But I love it. I think it's beautiful. And again, it's not going to stay completely green. I'm going to add a little bit of gold touches here and there just to bring out the details of all the molds that I'm using on this gondola. As I mentioned, now I'm just dry brushing with some gold to bring out all the details and to make it look a little more, like I said before, a little more steampunk. And I really love this color gold with that green. I think it's fabulous. And I love the fact that, Santa Claus is going to be riding something other than his sleigh and his reindeer as he's coming to town. Now here I'm adding some cute little, I know they're gnomes. Okay, let it go. I know they're gnomes. Hey, how about the gnomes are the ones that help Santa with the, with the Zeppelin, with the blimp? Why not? I did paint them so they were green and red instead of like blue and red and stuff like that. But, we'll just pretend they're elves. There's, Santa is an equal opportunity employer. So he employs gnomes whenever he can. So they're in charge of his blimps. There you go. Now let's go back to the blimp. I had put this velvet trim on it, and then I changed my mind because I found this beaded trim in my stash. Actually, I'd gone to an estate sale. Oh my goodness. And this woman had a lot of crafts, and she had this wonderful trim, and the trim just reminded me of like old-fashioned Christmas lights. So I thought, you know what? I have to redo this trim with the Christmas lights. Look at how adorable that looks. I love it. I wish they literally lit up, but don't worry about it. I will take care of that later. You'll see in the final result. Now I'm just going to continue with the trim and add the gondola to the actual blimp. To add the gondola to the blimp, I had this garland. It was wired garland with these beautiful metal leaves, and I thought, my goodness, this is absolutely perfect to attach the gondola to the blimp. And again, you can use anything that you have that's easier for you. You can use chains, you can use wire, you can use ribbon, whatever you think is best for you. But I really love the idea of wiring the gondola to the blimp, because that way I can maneuver the gondola and the blimp together. Here I'm again using that little screwdriver to help me poke the holes in the gondola to be able to attach it to the blimp. Now here I am actually attaching the gondola to the blimp, and all I had to do was once again poke holes through that fabric, and because of the wired frame in this blimp, it's so easy to secure it to something that's sturdy, such as the wire frame of this blimp. And because I had glued some of this fabric, it's I guess it's sturdier because it's not going to fray or anything like that as time goes by. But it's very easy to just attach them with this wire because I used wire. Again, you can use anything you like, but I really enjoyed using, or I really feel that it was most effective to use the wire to attach the gondola to the blimp. To finish off my little gondola and really bring through the steampunk aesthetic, I'm going to add these tiny little gears that once again I had in my stash. I believe I got many of these from Temu, as well as collected others from other places, I don't know where, but I'm just adding little gears here, little gears there. Don't know if it makes sense, but I like the way it adds a bit of that steampunk look to that very classic Victorian look. As you notice, I also lined the inside of my gondola with that same gold fabric, so that if you do peek in to Santa's little blimp here, you'll see a nice background. And as you can see, there's Santa up on your left hand side. You can see a very handsome Santa that I actually found at Hobby Lobby, and believe it or not, it was already at 50% off. I'm trying not to buy a lot of things this year. I'm trying to make many of the things my own, but Santa Claus was definitely something I had to invest in. I even found this gear that looked to me like a wheel, and I put it right at the front with a little gnome there. And look at Santa, he's looking out at everything as he's flying over in his beautiful gilded blimp. I really like the way this turned out, and I'll show you some pictures of how it looks on the tree itself. I want to thank my friends Dawn of Shabby Meets Bling, Monica of Up All Night DIY, and Melissa of I'm Merely Melissa for hosting this Santa is Coming to Town collaboration. I hope you like the inventive and whimsical ways I thought of for Santa to come to town. And please remember to visit their channels as well as all the channels that have participated in this playlist. Remember also the information about the Santa in its beautiful plain inflatable information that will be down below in my description. Thanks again for stopping by, and if you enjoyed this, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, stay safe, be kind, God bless each and every one of you, and remember to live the adventure. I hope you all have a wonderful adventure this Thanksgiving with your loved ones and families. May God bless you all.